Hello, I'm going to be talking about blocks. So, some quick block facts. Blocks let us draw something once and reuse it. Blocks are a type of dendro transform. There are block definitions and block instances. Actually, block definition is just a regular group, but I'll show you how to use that later on. We can override an inherited property on a block instance. And finally, blocks are fun. We'll see that in action. Alright, so basic block example. Let's just make that a little less extreme. I've defined this block definition here, and I've got two instances of this block instance. Let's draw another one. Let's copy and paste. Now, when I edit the definition, the instances that reference that definition all change together. So now I can just draw this arrow once and reuse it all over the place. If I change the original, all the instances will change. That's the most basic case where I've just got one object that gets repeated a bunch of times. So the way I can place this block instance is by making a point and open the dendro, and I think go block instance. Perfect. Okay, so this is just a dendro transform. We're going to need the block definition ID, and that's going to be the ID of the group we want to reference. And we've also got options for scale, rotation, and whether or not we want to mirror that instance. So I'm going to go back and come back to the definition, and I should see in raw evaluated. What have I done? There we go. Move that. We want to grab the group ID. Okay. Open that up. And I'm just going to keep scale and rotation as they are. Hit save changes. Bam. Now we've got a few more instances. Now you'll notice that as I move that, they're kind of not really keeping a consistent base point. So the way we can get around that is by adding a group base point to this group. So if I add another point, and let's just snap it to this corner here, and block base point. If I add that there, next up I'm going to need to add it to that group. So let's just ungroup that and then group it again. Let's change the name back to the old one, and boom, there we go. So now all of these are going to be anchored, the instances are going to be anchored on the base point in the definition. So now if we change the size of this, it's not going to move all over the place, and it's really, really useful. So the other thing you may have seen in there is there are some options for scaling and rotation, and as well mirror. So let's make a shape that is going to be quite obvious when it's mirrored. I don't know, that'll do. It's a funny shape. And I want to come into this one. Let's change the rotation by 90 degrees. And I'm going to copy it. Come in here. Let's mirror this one. And I think I can just set that to 0. No. Let's spin that around until we get something we're happy with. Minus 90. There we go. There we go. So now you can mirror and scale all the instances as much as you like, and still go back to the original and move it around. Now that's basically two objects at the moment. There's the base point and the original shape that we put on the block definition or group. So maybe we can add another shape to it. And let's change the usage of that. Don't really mind. Maybe we can make an eye. lots of eyes around the place. Let's just make that another amenity, but let's change the color of that so it's dark. Cool. So again, I want to add these all to the same group. Make sure that it's got the original group name, and instantly you can see all these children have updated. But we can see this one here is special. It's got blue color, and that's because we're overriding that property on the instance. So you can to do that, you just click on an instance and add a new property. So let's change that color. Boom. And again, change the definition, change all instances. So there's probably one last thing, and it gets a bit complicated here, but because you're basically taking something which may already have some dendro transformations applied, what happens to the instances is they can continue to operate on that dendrogram. So if I come in to, let's delete some of these shapes, just make it a bit simple again. Make this just a shape like this. And okay, well there's clearly a bug there. Like finding a bug in a demo. Come onto this flow builder, let's add rounded edges to this. So let's make that 12. We should see that on the children, so that's all good. But then, if we come into the children, if we were to open this flow builder, we can continue to add on transformations past that point. So let's maybe say that's an offset, and let's offset 20. And I believe we should be able to offset all those children. Again, it's a little bit buggy. Yep, no, that is expected behavior. The reason was I didn't apply that same dendro to the children. So I can come in here and open the flow builder and change that offset poly. And it's going to continue to operate on that inherited dendrogram. So what have we got? We got some examples over here. Oh, stacking. Okay, so that's another cool thing. Well, here we've got the dendro, the block being applied along a line. So if let's go back over to the definition, which is a block, just a group, I mean. And if I edit this, you'll see all the children update. What happens if we come over to, I think that's an instance. What would happen if we had two instances beside each other? Well, they will stack. So they just follow all the same stacking rules that is already built in a giraffe. That can be really useful. And should work with other shapes as well. Yeah. That is basically it. Very fun. All right, thank you.